Cotswold Craft Cottage skein winder, a little bit of maintenance and how to get you started using it. There's just a couple of things to check. One, that this doesn't turn when you wind. This should be solid. If it does move, you need to tighten up this nut on the back. So when you wind, the arms are actually going round the part of the spinning mechanism that doesn't have a thread on. This can be oiled occasionally, so just a little drop of oil down here and another drop down the front. It'll work its way down past the washer and just keep it lubricated nicely so that you spin nicely. You should be able to let go and it will carry on spinning. As you wind, the counter counts up. If you need to pause, the pause button is there. So we're on 105 at the moment and we can carry on winding there and nothing happens. Press it again and we continue counting. So if you need to stop to undo like a tangle, or you need to do something with your yarn, then just pause it. To 0 you press the other button, so that's just that one, and it'll go back to 0 and start again like that. Another thing to make sure you always do is when you're inserting the pegs, put them into the holes right through to the back so that they're flush with there. The outside ones are the 2 metre, make the 2 metre skeins, and the second one in make the 1.5 metre. If you've got 3 holes, the inner ones are probably 1 metre unless you've asked for something different. Or again, if you've asked for imperial measurements, it'll be in yards. If your pegs get a bit loose, all you have to do to tighten them up a bit is dampen the ends of the pegs. Just stand them in a glass of water for a minute or so, or just run them under the tap, and that'll swell the wood enough to tighten it up in the hole, because having sort of your tools in a central heated house or when it's warm weather will dry the wood out and they'll become loose. But if they're in that far, it shouldn't damage your pegs or your winder while you're winding. If you're going to wind direct from your bobbin, here I'm using an Ashford Traditional with a jumbo bobbin on it. You need to line your wheel up to your skein winder so that it sort of is straight in line with it, and then loosen your tension off so that this will unwind with no tension on it. Right, so once you've loosened off your tension on your wheel, or you can also wind from a Lazy Kate, find your end and find the peg with the ball that comes off, which is the one with a daisy on the end. Make sure you've got your pegs in so that they're flush with the back of the arms, and then just put the end at the end of the peg and push the ball over, and that'll hold it in place. 0 your counter and start to wind. You can wind either way and the counter will work, and if you've got your wheel lined up correctly, you should be able to wind on. If it's getting a bit loopy, just put a little bit of tension on it. You can feed it on with your hand if you'd rather, but don't hold the yarn tightly. So just wind, feeding on. If I stop here, you'll see that it'll feed across. Sometimes you get a little bit up on the back bit, just pull it off, or just adjust your wheel again, or your Lazy Kate, so that it's in line. And then just keep winding. So I'm coming to the end of my yarn now. I'm just feeding it on a little bit with my hand to get it a bit more even. And That's the end there. I'll just pull it off my leader, and there we are. So as you can see, it's fed on evenly over the pegs, and if you can see that, I've done 161 turns, and I'm on the outside pegs, which make a 2 metre skein, so that's double that. So now pause the counter so that when you're moving it around to tie the skein off, you don't change your numbers. It's easy to tie off. You can do it in the middle of each side. So you've got 4 ties, just separate it in the middle and do a figure of 8. So when you've finished tying off your skein, you just need to take it off the skein winder. You can pull your loose ball off the end of there and pull it off the pegs, or you can pull the peg out completely. And there you have your skein, which is now ready to be finished. Now once this has been washed, and I usually full it a little bit, it will shrink. So if you've taken a measurement of your length now, once you've finished it, it'll probably be shorter. So if you're winding it to sell or for a specific project which you need a specific length for, you really need to measure it once you've finished it. If you're not going to finish it, you can just twist your skein so it's got a bit of tension in it, fold it in half, tuck one end through the loop, the other end, got an end there, just tuck that in, give it a little loop, and there you have your skein. Okay, I've now finished my yarn. It's shrunk a bit, it's got a bit of give in. If you want to measure what you've got, you need to be able to wind it back onto your skein winder. Best way to do this is by putting it on a Swift, or I'm lucky enough to have 2 of these because I got a prototype that we made to start with, so I usually put it on one and then wind it onto the second. If you're putting it on one of these for that, or to wind it direct into a ball, which is what I'm going to show you now, you have to make sure that you're not forcing it on the pegs because you'll break them. So this one I wound a 2 metre skein to start with, but it shrunk quite a lot. I've moved the pegs into the 1.5 metre holes, and as you can see, it sort of goes on reasonably well. You wouldn't want it much tighter than that. So that's actually 1.5 metre there. Make sure that you've got all your strands of yarn going the right way and you haven't got them buckled back on themselves. I'm now going to take the ties off, ready to wind the ball. So I've now found my end, and I'm going to thread it up in the ball winder. So through the loop, into there, and then as you wind, it pulls nicely off the skein winder, and you don't actually have to tension it at all. As you can see, it winds quite nicely off the skein winder. We're nearly at the end now, so sort of slow down a bit. onto the middle bit of the ball and one big ball or cake. Thanks for watching. Bye.